Keep it simple, service member. A guide to crafting an amazing resume that gets results without the extra fluff. All right, so what is a resume? Simply put, a resume is a branding document, okay? Your resume is not meant to be a one for all document that includes your full 20-year military history or the last 20 years of your work experience, okay? When it comes to what you present in your resume, it needs to be relevant and it needs to be marketed or articulated for a particular industry or skill set. But we'll get into that later. But again, it's a branding document. So when you think about brands, you think about Nike, you think about Amazon, you think about Walmart's, Tesla. When you think about each of those brands, it elicits a specific feeling. That's why we pick and choose the brands that we like, because there's something innate about it or something that we like about that brand that draws our attention. Same thing with your resume. It's a marketing document. But again, we'll get into that a little bit later. So now when it comes to best resume practices, the first thing we're going to talk about is the resume types. I see a lot of job seekers, like let's say you never wrote a resume. You Google how to write a resume and then all this information comes up about resume types, right? As a recruiter, I look at resumes all the time. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I don't care if it's a chronological resume, a functional resume, a combination resume, or a targeted resume. It's not like when I open the applications within the ATS and I open up a resume and I'm like, this isn't a chronological resume. The main thing I want to see is, do you have the knowledge, skills, ability, the tools, the software, the skills, technical skills, soft skills, and competencies that I'm looking for to be able to do the job. That's the main thing I'm looking for. I could care less about the type of resume, okay? So I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Chronological basically is listed in reverse chronological order, starting with your most recent experience, and it's best used when you have a strong, steady work experience and clear career trajectory, all right? Now, functional, I mean, it emphasizes skills and accomplishment rather than your work history, right? And it's often used by individuals who have gaps in their work history, those who are transitioning into a new career, or who have a diverse range of experience. But again, um, resume type really doesn't matter. Combination, same thing. It just kind of combines chronological and functional resumes. Again, highlights your skills and work history, but places more emphasis on your work history. Targeted. Now, this is what I like, targeted. All right, this type of resume is tailored to a specific job or industry and highlights how your skills and experience aligns with the requirements of that particular role. The type of resume you choose will depend on your work history, career goals, and the specific requirements of the job you're applying for. But again, this is just for your informational knowledge. The main thing I can tell you about a resume is make sure it's tailored for each industry or each particular role that you're applying to. Even if it's the same industry, you want to make sure that you read the job description and make sure that you at least have the competencies or skill sets required. And if you don't have it, there's a way to upskill. You can take free courses and then add them to your resume. A whole lot of people don't know you can do that, but you can. All right, now we're going to go into the resume itself, okay? The first thing we're going to talk about is the resume section header, okay? This is the very top of your resume. Some resume do's and don'ts, right? So your heading, that's the first thing we see when we pull up your resume, right? So it should include your first name, last name, your LinkedIn profile link, and your email at a minimum. With your email, make sure it's a professional email, not like slawdog2001 fire emoji at gmail.com. If you can, I would recommend using the gmail.com domain for your email address because it kind of shows that you're relevant. If you got like a Yahoo or an AOL, you could open yourself up to ageism. Now, ageism is when hiring managers or recruiters unconsciously or consciously discriminate against job seekers due to perception of their age. They may not think you're with the times. They may not think you can keep up with the pace. And a lot of jobs these days, especially remote, um, they require you to have like particular skill sets and be familiar with CRM systems. But again, I'll cover that later. And then with the LinkedIn URL, having a LinkedIn URL, not only a LinkedIn URL, but a optimized LinkedIn profile that would definitely help you with your job search. I know me and my job every day, I use LinkedIn Recruiter to source talent for various roles. And then when I'm looking at that talent, um, as long as you populate like your skills, your experience, use the correct job titles, you'll be searchable and findable on LinkedIn. But again, that's a whole nother course that'll be coming in the line. So only include the city and state, right? Don't include your full address. All right. We're in a day and time when people can steal your identity and just use your information. So this includes city and state. You don't need to put your full street address. Okay. If you're a military veteran or a transitioning service member, be sure to include your security clearance status if applicable. Okay. If you're applying for a role that doesn't require you to have a security clearance, take it off your resume because it's not relevant. Okay. And then on the next slide, I want to show you kind of my example. I did hide my information for security purposes, but what I wanted to bring up, if you look at the header section, I did not include my name or the information within that header section because sometimes the ATS systems that we use as recruiters and sourcers doesn't pick it up. So let's say you apply for a role, but you include your header information within the header section of the Word document itself. It's going to be blank and I won't know how to contact you. So be sure not to include that header information within the actual header section of the resume or of the document, of the Word document. I know it sounds crazy, but trust me, don't do it. All right. Now, we're going to get into the professional summary section, okay? Now, the professional summary, I like to look at it as a branding statement, okay? If you have an objective statement, that's an outdated practice. Please don't put an objective statement on your resume. Instead, incorporate a branding statement or professional summary that markets you as the expert or professional in whatever career field you choose to operate in. And it should be no more than 1 to 4 sentences. It should primarily include your job title or your primary job title, years of experience, cap at 10 years, okay? And the tools, softwares, and systems you use to utilize your job. All right, this section is so underrated and can even be used as a cover letter if articulated succinctly or clearly. Now, if the job posting states that a cover letter is needed, then ensure you submit one, okay? And then I want to show you my professional summary on the next slide, all right? So if you look at mine, it clearly identifies who I am and what I'm an expert in. I'm an employment specialist, okay? Again, 10 years experience. I'm letting them know I have 10 years experience doing all those duties and responsibilities associated with an employment specialist, okay? Another thing that I want to point out is employee customer relationship management and enterprise planning systems to communicate, track, and update staff and all that good stuff, right? So just letting them know that I use particular CRM systems, and I actually listed those CRM systems within the technical skills section of my resume, which I'll show on a couple of slides, okay? Now, the next section we're going to get into is the professional experience section, okay? Again, you see this theme, cap experience at 10 years, and list your experience in reverse chronological order. All right, only include the position title, dates of employment, all on one line. It's okay to use a pop of color too, grays and blues. And then be sure to use no more than 3 to 5 bullet points per position or title. And then keep those bullet points short and concise and down to like no more than 2 lines, okay? Bold any numbers or metrics so they stand out. And then be aware of your verb tense. All right. Another thing, address any employment gaps longer than 6 months with an employment gap placeholder. Be sure to notate. Excuse me. Be sure to notate the dates of your employment gap and briefly explain the reasoning. So if you look right here, employment gap from March 2020 to 11/2021. That's right around COVID, right? Everybody got furloughed, laid off. It's okay. You just got to explain what happened during the gap and kind of like what you did to upskill or enhance your skills. Just highly recommended. But if you look at the bullet points, it just kind of explains like furlough due to COVID, spent time away from career to enroll as a full-time student to pursue organizational management degree. It's kind of painting the picture for us as recruiters and sourcers so that we don't have to ask those questions during the interview. Plus, it answers any red flags that we may see. So let's say you had an employment gap, but you didn't address it. To us, that's a red flag. It's a question that we need to ask, and this kind of takes more time to uncover. So by getting ahead of that and including that employment gap in your resume, it'll help you out tremendously. Okay. Ensure that each bullet point begins with an action word and does not read like a job description. Lastly, ensure that it showcases not only how you performed your job, but communicates the impact of your actions. Like you saved X amount of money, you streamlined the operations by sorting percentages, you boosted retention rates, etc. Okay. All right. Now, these are some of my professional experience examples, and these are in present tense, being that I currently do this. So if you look at my employment specialist, the professional veteran LLC remote, at the dates of employment. But if you look at the highlighted verbs, they're all in present tense. Organize, coordinate, schedule, source leads, analyze, spearhead, structure, not organized, which is past tense, not sourced, which is past tense. It's my present role. I currently do it. So make sure you use present tense. Here's an example of a former role that I had as an admissions recruiter. I hid the job just for privacy purposes, but I'm no longer there. But what I did was I placed, I leveraged, and I tracked past tense. So you get the picture, right? Now we get into the skills and competencies section of our resume. Okay. Resume skills and competencies are two related but distinct sections often used in resume writing. Most of the time, they can be used interchangeably. This kind of depends on the situation, but skills are specific abilities necessary for performing certain tasks. They can be technical in nature, such as proficiency in a particular software program or anything that you had to learn or was trained on. Competencies are broader characteristics such as leadership, problem solving, and adaptability, etc. To be honest, I don't even like to use those soft skills on resumes. Okay, it's just fluff. I already talked about that. How a resume can include both sections. The approach you use will depend on your individual background and the requirements of the job you're applying for. Um, the purpose of this section is to pretty much just highlight your relevant skills and abilities, as well as to demonstrate how they make you a good fit for the role you're applying for. And then here are some tips for effectively using the skills section in your resume. Okay. Number one, focus on relevant skills. Relevancy is a word you're going to hear me say multiple times. If it's not relevant, it doesn't need to go on your resume. Keywords, okay? Many companies use applicant tracking systems to screen resumes, so it's important to include keywords related to the job you're applying for, okay? I don't know how many times I see it, but I think I look at maybe sometimes 200 resumes a day, and I see so many resumes come through that are nowhere in the ball field of what we're looking for in regards to skills or keywords needed. So all you're doing when you mass apply without tailoring your resume is you're wasting our time, you're wasting time for other talent that fit the job description to be discovered, because we have to filter and go through all of those resumes. So it pains me to see, but again, the main thing is relevant. Okay, quantify your skills wherever possible. Okay, um, for example, let's say that you listed project management under your skills. Be sure to write a bullet point or achievement showcasing that project management skill, like this one. Okay, manage multiple projects with budgets exceeding 500,000, leading to a 10% increase in revenue growth. All right, where not only did we list the skill, we're showing how we used it in our everyday job. Transferable skills are critical, especially as transitioning service members and spouses and dependents. There's a host of, I like to call them core critical skills that we can bring to any job or employer, like project management, leadership, and a host of others. Okay, but transferable skills are skills you develop in one job or industry that can be applied to another. Be sure to include these skills to show that you have a well-rounded skill set. By using the skills section effectively, you can help an employer quickly see the value you can bring to a role. Right here, just a skills section example. As you can see, what I did was I included it right underneath my professional summary. If you look right there, it says software, tools, CRM systems, and technical skills include LinkedIn Recruiter and a host of other ATS systems that I use to do my job as a sourcing recruiter daily. Okay, so that's how I list it on my resume. It's up front, it's right underneath the professional summary, and it quickly lets me know, hey job, or should I say, hey hiring team, I'm the person for this role. Here's a summary of the reason why, and here's all the skills that correlate to what you're looking for in this role. So again, they only need to be relevant. So if it's not relevant, don't include it. Okay. Now, core competencies. This is just my core competencies section. I put applicant tracking system, pipeline, case management, effective oral written communication, strong interpersonal skills, etc. Okay, these are just a list of core competencies that I possess that could be used within the recruitment industry to make me a more marketable talent. All right, education section. Okay, these sections are pretty straightforward. List your education to include degree type, institution, and date of graduation. If not finished with school, add the number of credit hours completed. If you have a college degree, it is okay to omit your high school diploma. Like, let's say you got a bachelor's degree, you earned a bachelor's degree in 2022, but you graduated from high school in 2010. Please take the high school diploma off your resume, okay? It would be assumed that you have some kind of high school diploma or GED, or you wouldn't be able to even enroll into that college program or degree program. So again, if you have a bachelor's degree, take your high school degree or your high school diploma off your resume. Um, lastly, add any relevant certificates, training, or courses that you have completed. Circling back around to that employment gap. I know before I got the role as a recruiter or a sourcing recruiter, one of the job requirements were to have proficiency within LinkedIn Recruiter, which is an ATS system that we use to manage talent, source for talent via LinkedIn, and screen applications, etc. So basically, talent management. I didn't have LinkedIn Recruiter, but what I did was I went to LinkedIn training, took the LinkedIn Recruiter course, and I added it to my resume. All right, and I'll show you right here on the next slide right here. If you look under education and training, you'll see it right there at the bottom. LinkedIn Recruiter course. The organization was LinkedIn Learning. And I put the date it was completed. But when I went to the interview, I made it clear, hey, I don't have practical experience using LinkedIn Recruiter. However, I just took the course on LinkedIn Recruiter. I understand what the tool is supposed to do. I understand how I can use it to communicate talent pools that I may create for recruiters, and share that talent pool with recruiters. And I understand the ins and outs of the system itself, the LinkedIn recruiter platform itself. So that helped me tremendously. And if you're looking to level up or you're looking to get into a industry or role that you may not have too much experience in, but you have like similar experience. So like me, I'm a resume writer by trade, so I already knew about writing resumes, reading job descriptions, things like that. Those are some of the transferable skills that I use to properly market myself as a sourcing recruiter or a talent sourcer. So that's how I got into the recruiting industry. So I went from 88 Mike motor transport operator to a talent sourcer within the recruiting industry. So if I can do it, you can do it. All right, these are just some of the services and products that we provide. We provide resume writing for civilian and federal employees, LinkedIn profile optimization, free 30-minute one-on-one consultations, and I also on the website I got a free do-it-yourself resume template with instructions and examples, and of course brand apparel. This is just some of my background and experience. I already talked about how the fact that I was an 88 Mike truck driver, retired E7. Shortly after retirement, I went to career advising, where I was helping transitioning soldiers and spouses and dependents transition from the military into civilian careers. Shortly after that, COVID hit, and then I became a remote resume writer and reviewer for Indeed. So at Indeed, I was helping job seekers revamp their resumes in order to land the role they want. Worked there for about 9, 10 months, helping those clients. Then I became an admissions recruiter working for a tech company. And then now I'm a sourcing recruiter, and I'm also a member of the Professional Association of Resume Writers and Career Coaches. My website is the Professional Veteran LLC. Here's my LinkedIn profile, QR code. So feel free to take a picture of that and connect, or just use your phone, go to photos, scan that QR code. It'll take you straight to my LinkedIn profile. Feel free to connect, send me a message, and then we can go from there. Then my email right here. If you want to send me your resume for a free resume review, just email resumes at the professional veteran LLC.com. And then for the subject, put complimentary resume review, and we'll take it from there. Again, I'm looking at 22 minutes. I'm simple, straightforward. Um, Sometimes we overcomplicate things as job seekers, but it's really not that difficult. The main thing is to understand what the job is asking for, and you're basically going to tailor your experience, and you're going to answer the questions. Okay, what did I do in my career that aligns with what this employer is looking for, and how can I incorporate it into my resume? That's the main takeaway. Other than that, again, keep it simple. So, service member, KISS. If you have any questions, by all means, you got my contact information. Reach out. Um, hey, it was a pleasure.